All right, and welcome to Fastbreak Breakfast NBA podcast. My name is Keith Parrish, and this is the Dillon Brooks Did What? Emergency episode. On Sunday at 3:30 a.m. Central Time, the U.S. and Canada faced off in the bronze medal game of the FIBA World Cup. I'm not a young man. I did not wake up early to catch this one. I did not stay up late to catch this one. I understood I'm not going to watch this live. I did, however, choose to forego watching the gold medal game of Germany against Serbia so I could get out of bed Sunday morning, not look at my phone, open up ESPN Plus, and watch this game with no spoilers. And what I was treated to was unbelievable. Unlike anything I could have imagined. Dillon Brooks had the game of his life, and Canada beat the U.S. Now, Canada beating the U.S., not surprising at all. Dillon Brooks playing well, not surprising at all. He's had some very, very good games in FIBA competition, but Dillon Brooks had 39 points. He also had 5 assists. He got 2 blocks. He made 7 out of 8 three-pointers. Yes, his teammate Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is uncontroversially better than any Team USA player. We expected him to do a lot. Shai had 31 points and 12 assists. But Dillon Brooks, who if he were American would not have been picked to be on Team USA by any stretch of the imagination, Dillon Brooks, 39 points, 7 out of 8 three-pointers, 5 assists, 4 rebounds, 2 blocks, a steal, and only 1 turnover. Now, this game was close. Dillon started his damage early, made a couple of threes to start the game. Canada got off to a hot start. Team USA, like they've been doing, fell behind early. Team USA gives up a lot of points because they don't play defense. Canada was up double digits. Dillon had 21 in the first half. But then in the second half, Team USA rallied behind their bench. It did, in the fourth quarter, look like the game was over and Canada had it won. But this game, beyond the unbelievable Dillon Brooks performance, had one of the more outrageous end-of-game plays you will ever see. We're down 4 points. Mikal Bridges got fouled going for a rebound. So down 4, he made the first free throw, missed the second one on purpose, got his own rebound, sprinted to the corner, and drilled a three-pointer to tie it with less than a second left. Again, something that was totally shocking. One of the best clutch moments I could imagine. And part of me is thinking, oh, wow, I've prepared all these Dillon Brooks tweets to fire off once this game ends. I mean, the game's over, but once I find out what actually happens, it felt like the whole time Canada was going to win this game. But Mikal Bridges, who was spectacular for Team USA the entire tournament. You can blame a lot of Team USA players. You can blame Steve Kerr for his coaching of Team USA. You can blame Grant Hill and Jerry Colangelo and the roster that was assembled. I don't think you can blame Mikal Bridges. He was awesome in this game. He was awesome the entire tournament. Shot an unbelievable percentage. But his final 4-point play, again, offensive rebound, got fouled on, goes to the line for the bonus, makes the first, misses on purpose, gets his own rebound, runs it out to the corner, hits the tying three-pointer, sends it to overtime. But then in overtime, Shai and Dillon kept cooking, and Canada wins the bronze medal. Team USA goes home with a disappointing 4th place finish. They lost 3 of their final 4 games. They lost to Lithuania, they lost to eventual champion Germany, and they lose to Canada. Dillon Brooks' 39 points are the most points for any player in a World Cup game since Dirk Nowitzki had 47 in 2006. Dirk's 47-point game came against Angola. Dillon's 39-point game comes against Team USA. How remarkable was this Dillon stat line? Only 2 times in NBA history has a player had a game with at least 39 points, 7 made threes, 5 assists, and 2 blocks, while also making at least 2/3 of their field goal attempts. LeBron James did it once. Tracy McGrady did it once. And Dillon Brooks did it to Team USA. Not only did he start off that first half, started the game hot, he came out, started the second half, made a 3. He then actually barely scored until it came down to crunch time. But he came up huge at the end of regulation and in overtime. He basically iced the game where the shot clock was running down in overtime, and Canada went to him against Austin Reeves, and Dillon Brooks drove at Austin and comfortably pulled up for a baseline dagger. Canada, much like Germany did and like Lithuania did, went at Austin Reeves over and over. Now, Austin, he's been a spark plug for Team USA. He was trusted as one of the better, I think one of the best lineups the Team USA could use was playing Austin Reeves. And he had a very good offensive game against Canada, much like the rest of Team USA. The offense was good, but the defense was abysmal. And Dillon made this clutch basket over Austin Reeves. It was poetic. It was perfectly fitting because Austin Reeves this entire tournament had been getting huge ovations and cheers from the Filipino crowd. Meanwhile, Dillon Brooks had been getting booed constantly whenever he got the ball. And then in this game, at the end, Dillon Brooks, in front of the crowd in Manila, got MVP chance while he was shooting free throws to put the game away. As a Grizzlies fan and as a Warriors hater, I relished the moment where Steve Kerr just sat there on the bench thinking about how a Dillon Brooks-led Canada team had scored 127 points on Team USA, and the crowd was chanting MVP for Dillon Brooks. The 127 points scored by Canada, that's the most points the U.S. has ever allowed in an international game since they started using NBA players. And remember, in the semifinal game, Germany scored 113 on the U.S. That's a 40-minute game. That Germany loss, I talked about it a little on Grits and Grinds, a little on Fastbreak Breakfast, the crossover episode I did with Dane Moore. They just didn't seem like they wanted to defend. They didn't lock in until the fourth quarter. And the small ball, which I think Team USA has rightly been criticized for, like small ball's good, but if you do only small ball and you also don't really try seemingly to stop perimeter players, and it seems like their objective was just to outscore the opponent, well, it didn't work. They gave up 240 total points in their last 2 games. And Dillon Brooks, by the way, in his last 4 games at the World Cup against Spain, Slovenia, Serbia, and the U.S., Dillon averaged 23 points per game, 4 rebounds per game, 3 assists per game, a steal, and a block. He made 16 out of 24 three-pointers in those 4 games. For the entire tournament, Dillon Brooks made 59% of his three-pointers, also 59% of all of his field goal attempts. That is the 5th highest three-point percentage ever posted for a single FIBA tournament for any player who's attempted at least 25 three-pointers. For the entire World Cup, Dillon had a 76% true shooting percentage. This is one of the least efficient NBA players, period. Locked in the World Cup and absolutely destroyed Team USA. Now, the small ball of Team USA, some of that blame, especially in the semifinals loss, landed on the shoulders of Jaren Jackson Jr., our Grizzly guy, the reigning defensive player of the year. On social media, people were putting down Jaren's 2.8 rebounds per game. Yeah, it's a paltry small number, but like he only played 18 minutes a game, which is low. But of course, we knew Jaren is not a good rebounder. I keep repeating myself. Maybe I just can't see like Jaren's failings. Like, yeah, he did a bad job rebounding. But what do you expect, basically? Jaren is an elite rim protector. He's a versatile switch defender. He did those things in this World Cup. In the fourth quarter against Germany, when they actually played him, he did a good job on these two-man games guarding Dennis Schroeder and Franz Wagner. Team USA got back in it. Through the first three quarters, he had 0 fouls. Like, you could rightly criticize Jaren's foul trouble in the previous games. He had no fouls and yet played 9 minutes through the first three quarters because Steve Kerr wanted to not play Jaren. He thought they were better with Paolo Banchero. Like, Paolo Banchero had a solid tournament. Why didn't we ever play Paolo and Jaren together? No one knows. But now, because of Jaren's struggles and the loss against Germany, you see I don't think he was the rightful Defensive Player of the Year. It's silly to me. Jaren led the NBA in blocks per game. He posted, I think it was the 4th highest block percentage ever. He had really high steal numbers as well. The Grizzlies were a suffocating defense when Jaren was on the court. Should a Defensive Player of the Year, does it have to be a good rebounder? I don't know. Marcus Smart is not a good rebounder. Could Jaren have done a better job rebounding? Absolutely. But like asking Jaren to be your big rebounder as the only big on the court, that's a mistake. It's not going to happen. You wouldn't ask Jalen Brunson to be a rim protector. It's not going to happen. Like, maybe the bounces could go Jalen Brunson's way and he ends up with a couple of blocks in a game. But no, you're not going to do that. Maybe Jaren could pull down 10 rebounds in 25 minutes once. It's rare. He doesn't do it. He's bad at it. So I think it was a mistake of Team USA to just totally give up, basically, on rebounding and defense and say, hey, let's make it a track meet. It didn't work out. Maybe hindsight 2020, they would have changed something. I mean, I still think with the players they had, they could have played more larger lineups. I thought Banchero plus Jaren plus Bobby Portis, you could have two of those guys on the court at all times, or most times. You could still go small ball. It's just only going small ball seemed weird. And then in the Canada game, if you didn't see it, Jaren Jackson Jr. didn't even play. He was sick. Paolo Banchero, Brandon Ingram, and Jaren Jackson Jr. all had an upper respiratory infection and did not play. So a lot of people are like, oh, we got to play Walker Kessler. Walker Kessler would have solved all our problems. Well, Walker Kessler got his chance against Canada. Yeah, he grabbed 7 rebounds, but Team USA got lit up when he was on the court. And I'm not blaming Walker Kessler. If the perimeter defenders aren't stopping anyone, you can't just rely on one big. I mean, Walker Kessler played 7 rebounds, 6 points. Team USA gave up a record 127 points overall. And it's a bad break for Team USA, who was already light on bigs, already light on rebounding, to not have Banchero and Jaren and Brandon Ingram for that final game. Would they have stopped Dillon Brooks? No, sir. Dillon Brooks is an unstoppable force. Also in this game, and for Team USA, like, Jalen Brunson presented his own set of problems. Now, I thought Jalen would be great in international ball, but the lineups with him struggled a lot in the semifinals and in the third place game. In the last 2 games, Jalen Brunson was a minus 36 combined. He didn't play in overtime against Canada, so regulation against Germany, regulation against Canada, Team USA got outscored by 2 total points. And Brunson was a minus 36 in those 2 games. Now, of course, Brunson was the starter, so he's playing the starters for the other team. He's facing their top line. If he'd been on the second unit, presumably the plus-minus numbers would have been a lot better. But that plus-minus is kind of staggering. The starters struggling period, showing that we don't even stack up that well against the other team's starters, which, again, like, when you look at the talent level, Team USA, top to bottom, very, very good NBA players, maybe no elite top-line NBA players. Canada had the best player in the game. Yes, it was Dillon Brooks, but I mainly meant gilgeous-alexander. Now, Germany, Franz Wagner, very, very good young player. Probably Team USA, you'd say lots of their players are considered to be better than Franz Wagner. But Franz Wagner plus Dennis Schroeder plus Mo Wagner plus Voigtman, this shooter Obst, who destroyed Team USA because they wouldn't guard him. They seemingly didn't care that he was one of the most feared snipers out there. Daniel Tice annihilated Team USA. Like, these other teams have talent. And Team USA, with their, I think, faulty game plan and their not elite roster, and then running into Dillon Brooks, look out. So we should recognize Germany, who wins the world title. That's right, world champions, World Cup champions. Germany, behind Schroeder, who is World Cup MVP. He consistently made big plays when they were needed in their undefeated run throughout the World Cup. They beat Serbia. Serbia was led by Bogdan Bogdanovic, former Grizzlies player Marko Guduric. Like, Serbia was missing Nikola Jokic and also Vasilij Micic, who has signed with the Thunder this summer. I mean, even Team Canada was missing Jamal Murray. They might get, for the Paris Olympics, they might get Andrew Wiggins and Benedict Mathurin and Brandon Clark and Shaedon Sharp. Like, Canada is going to be awesome if it gets all those players. Now, for Team USA, as they try to face kind of the scrutiny and the shame of losing 3 out of 4 and not medaling, they've already said, or LeBron has already leaked to Shams, that LeBron's going to play, and LeBron's recruiting KD and Steph. Like, even if LeBron, Steph, and KD play in the Olympics, it's far from guaranteed that the USA is going to medal. International basketball has flat out caught up. Although I think Patreon supporter and power listener Patrick Kirkner makes a big point, a correct point in our Slack, that LeBron would have been the best rebounder for this Team USA squad. I agree with that. LeBron would have been the small ball 5 that Jaren and Paolo weren't that effective at. So if you don't watch the World Cup, or if you didn't watch the World Cup, I understand. That's fine. A lot of sports going on. But I got to say, it was tremendous. I highly recommend it if you have ESPN Plus, going back and at least watching that Canada-US third-place game. Outrageously entertaining basketball. Big plays by a lot of players, especially one, Dillon Brooks. Kudos to him! What a game. Anyways, thanks for listening to the Emergency Dillon Brooks World Cup podcast episode. You guys are the best. And remember, breakfast is the most important thing